has made it possible for me to be here before you today. And I also want to thank the teacher of today because he has set the stage. He has given us what is wrong with the gospel of prosperity. Ordinarily, I would just have quoted the passage, ran it up, and said, "You have forgotten the day." But I have chosen to give us some little drama that will help us to assimilate what he has taught today. And we will not be looking at just ordinary drama, but we will be looking at the stages of the life of Solomon as he himself portrayed in the book of Ecclesiastes. And today I have chosen the topic, the vanities of this life. I will appeal that you will bear with me. I do not have slide for it. I didn't use PowerPoint. This is just for us to take a word of admonition and to have some pictures of things in our mind as Solomon has put it, even as we could make reference to some things that happened in his life from the book of Second Chronicles and some other passages of the Bible like the book of Kings. In pursuit of wisdom and knowledge, like many today hope to find fulfillment in the pursuit of wisdom and knowledge, parents sacrifice their time, energy, or what do you have, even resources, just to get education for their children. And we are often told that knowledge is power. Of course, nothing is wrong with education. God gave each of us a brain and expect it to be used. I come from a family of educators. My family, even though my parents were not that first in school, but my father in his time could read and write, so also my mother. And they promote education a lot. But is education a fulfillment of life? Let us look at the life of Solomon. In the stage of the pursuit of wisdom and knowledge for Solomon, we will see, let's have a picture of a fountain of wisdom and knowledge, and people were struggling to have a drink from it. And Solomon was there at the right side of the stage with clear eye, alert and focus. In 2 Chronicles 1:7, God said to him, after he has offered the sacrifice and whatsoever and slept off, ask what I shall give you. And Solomon chose wisdom and an understanding heart, so he might judge his subjects rightly. That's in the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 1 verse 10. The Lord responded, wisdom and knowledge has been granted to you, in verse 12. Solomon, we all as Bible students can testify his accomplishments in educational field are impressive. He wrote 3,000 proverbs, 1,005 songs, and was an authority on nature. 1 Kings 4:32-34. He had an international reputation of wisdom. 2 Chronicles 9:23. Rulers and other dignitaries come from all over the world to marvel at his wisdom. We all know of the Queen of Sheba, visited with Solomon and told him, I did not believe the reports until I came, and my eyes have seen it. And behold, the heart was not told me, you exceed in wisdom and prosperity of the report which I had. That we can see in the book of 1 Kings chapter 10 verse 7. However, did this bring Solomon happiness? Let us hear from himself. It is recorded in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 13 that Solomon said, I set my mind to seek and explore by wisdom concerning all that has been done under heaven. I have magnified and increased wisdom more than all who were over Jerusalem before me. That is in verse 16 of Ecclesiastes chapter 1. However, he also said, the writings of many books is endless, and excessive devotion to books is wearing of the body to the body. That's chapter 12, verse 12b. Please let us read the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 12.
Ecclesiastes 12. And follow by this, my son, be admonished of making many books, there is no end, and much study is the weariness of flesh. The weariness of flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Hold on. Just at 12. We'll read 13 when we get there. It is stage by stage. We are trying to see the life of Solomon and how he ended up telling us in our text that it is vanity of vanities. All is vanities. Because in much wisdom there is much grief, and increasing knowledge in increasing knowledge results in increasing pain. In the end, Solomon had to face the river of death like everyone else. What was his conclusion? For there is no lasting remembrance of the wise man as with the fool. The wise man and the fool alike die. Everything is futility and striving after winds. That's in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 16 and 17. We now turn our attention back to the fountain of wisdom and see that many have drunk deeply, and its waters look disappointed, even disillusioned. They cry out, is this all there is to life? If we bring it home, we will see that many have attained excellence in wisdom, yet at the end it profited them nothing. Again, we should know that nothing is wrong with education. As good steward of our minds, we should do all we can to utilize this gift from God. We need to understand, however, that without God, education is empty, futile. Paul noted, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and the cleverness of the clever I will set aside. Where is the wise man? Where is the scribe? Where is the debater of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 19 and 20. God wanted us to know that the pursuit of earthly wisdom is not the way of happiness. So, we will notice in the book of Ecclesiastes that there's three major themes that goes around the entire Ecclesiastes, and it is one of it is vanity, which is futile. The next is God, and then under the sun. What can we derive from this? Vanity, God, then under the sun. I will get there later. God wanted us to know that the pursuit of, okay. Now we go again to the next stage of Solomon's life. On the left of the stage, we see the pool of wealth and riches. Like I used fountain for the first description, I'm using pool here. So you should know I'm trying to go with the language of waters. With crowd fighting to bath in his waters, they pull other people back as they cry, if we can just have this or that, we will be happy. Most of the world is convinced that the way to happiness is to have money and the things that money can buy. They believe that this facetious statement from Ecclesiastes is true. You know, it says, why maketh merry? And he concluded that money answereth all things. That we see in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19. On the right side of the stage, we see Solomon now in his royal robes, glittering with gold and precious gems. God promised him, I will give you riches and wealth and honor, such as none of the kings who were before you as possessed, nor those who will come after you. Second Chronicles chapter 1 verse 12. The biblical report of his riches staggers the mind. It staggers the mind. We all know what was reported of Solomon. Even just now, I tell us what the Queen of Sheba said when she visited. Now, the weight of gold which came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. And all the kings of Arabia and the governors of the country brought gold and silver to Solomon. Second Chronicles 9, 13 and 14. Please, I would like the reader to read for us Second Chronicles 9, 13 and 14.
It reads, Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 103 scores and 6 talents of gold. Beside that which chapmen and merchants brought, and the kings of Arabia and governors of the country brought gold and silver to Solomon. And King Solomon made 200 talents of beaten gold, 600 shekels of beaten gold, going to 1 talent.
It's all right. The king sat on a great throne of ivory, overlaid with pure gold. All King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house were of pure gold. Silver was not considered valuable in the ways of Solomon. The ships of Tarshish came bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. Second Chronicles 9, 17 to 21. Even in building of the temple, Solomon arrayed the temple with gold, even while it is built with timbers from Lebanon, but in the end he arrays it with gold. He had 40,000 horses, 12,000 horsemen. First Kings 4:26. And it took 13 years to build his magnificent palace. You can see, because he want to lay everything with gold. Again we ask, did this bring him happiness? Once again we'll hear from Solomon. Let us read from his word. He says, I enlarged my works. I built houses for myself. I planted vineyards for myself. I possessed flocks and herds larger than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. Then I became great and increased more than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 4 to 9. Let us read so it will not look like I'm only at times just paraphrase. But let's read. Let's see the biblical report itself.
I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted my vineyards. 5. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruits. 6. I made me pools of water to water them with the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. I got me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men, as musical instruments and that of all sorts.
It's all right. We have heard from him. This is an ancient experience. Solomon is like our teacher told us today, that it is not necessary that we experience by ourselves, but at times somebody who has experienced something will stand to advise another. Solomon stand a better place to give advice to Eli today, because he was arrayed in riches, in wisdom, in whatsoever thing, but yet he came back and told us that these things is vanity. His eyes were not satisfied with riches. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 8. He always wanted more. And that also happened today. No matter how the rich man has, he will also still look for more. The greed for wealth is unsatiable. This is a grievous evil which I have seen under the sun. That word has come again. Riches being ordered by their owner to his hut. To his hut. Like I come across one brother TV Larimon's work in my search while I was studying at Bear Valley. And most of the pictures I'm using were painted also there. He also painted another thing when he gets here. He said it is like a king that is thirsty and he could not look for any other water but the Atlantic Ocean. He built an edge round about it that no human being, not even bird or whatsoever thing, could go there and drink from it. And it has guards surrounding it. Yet, he could only drink from it a little at a time. Is that not vanity of vanity? How foolish is this? When you surround an item for others to use, no way, and you will not use it all. Today, even in this our environment, the so-called men of God, like my brother has said in the morning, will gather riches for themselves. In their congregation, many are there, wallowing, struggling, not meeting up anything to extend the hand of fellowship. No. They will rather see a vision of how he has offended God than to help him in any way. They have jets, which I don't know what that amounted to. There are carriers who could fly them, but they choose to have a personal one. Some does not even have only one. They have like 2 or 3. In this of recent, just last week, one of them was talking in his congregation and was looking for people who will donate billions and millions among his congregation. What is he going to do with all that? This is what Solomon is saying here, that they coveted riches to their own odds. It is very, very unfortunate that nobody will raise an eyebrow. Not even the government will try to investigate. These things are going on in the name of religion. Like my brother asked in the morning, what does this have to do with how you worship God? Donating in billions and millions. How foolish! Even a king can only live in one place at a time. He can only eat one meal at a time. He can only sleep in one bed at a time. In the end, Solomon wrote, as a man had come naked from his mother's womb, so will he return as he came. As a man born, thus will he die. Ecclesiastes 5:15 and 16. What then? A man cannot take his riches with him to the grave. He has to leave it all to others. Solomon was sadly aware of that reality. Thus he said in Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 18 and 19, Thus I hated all the fruit of my labor. Please let someone read for us. Ecclesiastes 2:18 and 19.
Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should give it unto the man that shall be upon me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have shewn myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I went about causing my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge.
It's all right. It's all right, please. So that I'll save the time. He said he hated all his labor because he doesn't know whether the person he will leave it to is going to be a fool or a wise man. Some family are fond of leaving legacy, but if they did not train the children, in my dialect, there is what we said, ọmọ tí wọn ò kọ́ ló máa ṣe kí ni, òun ló máa gbélé tán kọ́tà. A child that is not trained is the one that will sow the house that they built, because the word built is used in my dialect. A child that is not built will sow the house that is built. Again, we shift our attention to the left, to the pool of wealth and riches. If wealth and riches will bring happiness, then surely the wealthiest will be the happiest. But you and I know that the opposite is often true. Paul wrote, in 1 Timothy 6, 9 and 10, it talks about some who wander away from the faith and pair themselves with many grief because of the desire to have money. I just want to paraphrase it so that I can go. I'm already seeing light. As has been often noted, Paul did not say money is a root, but the love of money. We have read from Ecclesiastes already that says money answereth all things. And that is where the people who are propagating the gospel of prosperity at times take their strength. Now we come again to another picture, that of power and prestige. People could even kill to have power, to gain whatsoever thing they want. But here, Solomon has all this through God. In his 40-year reign, he built buildings, cities, even a navy. 1 Kings 9:17 to 19, then verse 26. He ruled over the greatest empire of his day. He might be compared to Nebuchadnezzar or Alexander the Great of the Greeks, or even Caesars of the Romans. His kingdom stretched from the Nile to the Euphrates. However, this brings happiness. Ultimately, Solomon realized that power, prestige, and popularity last just a moment. Then the memory of the deceased is forgotten. Ecclesiastes 9:5. There is no lasting remembrance of the wise man. As with the fool, in as much as in the coming days all will be forgotten. Ecclesiastes 2:16. Our focus shifts back to the left, where the struggle for power and prestige continues, even to this day. When election is coming in this nation, you and I know what will start happening. The rampage, the killing, the shooting, just because some want to attain power. Well, in pursuit of amusement and thrills, the first stage was set. Let us hear Solomon in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 17. Please, let's read. I'm rounding up.
And I give my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this is also vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increases sorrow.
He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Solomon, in his stages of life, wants us to look beyond the things of this life, the vanity. We should look beyond the sun. That's why most, he says, under the sun, and see God beyond the sun. When we look beyond the sun. So permit me to inform us that today there is even a greater vanity than all the things of this world, than all the stages that Solomon has passed through. And what is this that we are talking about? Let's read from the book of Matthew chapter 15, verse 8 and 9. Please, Matthew 15, 8 and 9. I'm rounding up.
These people draw it nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoureth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrine the commandments of men.
In vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrine the commandment of men. If where you belong, you are among us today, I don't think we have any visitor. But even if you are here, you are nursing the hope of fellowshipping outside the body of Christ. Then your fellowship will be in vain, because then what it taught is the commandment of men. And what it is you were worshiping, he did not say you didn't worship. Mark it, Christ said, in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrine the commandment of men. This can be inferred from the Solomon conclusion of the whole matter in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. John also said, Christ recorded that Christ says, if you love me, keep my commandment. Solomon said the conclusion of the whole matter is, fear God and keep his commandments. Those he will declare as workers of iniquity are those who will tell him, I have done this and that in your name. Yet he will tell them, depart from me, ye that worketh iniquity. May this not be our part. May we strive daily to avoid the vanities of this world, especially the great vanity of today. May the Lord bless his word in our hearts in Christ's name.
Amen.